Pulp MX Network production.
EVS Sports brings you a cheeky Brit and an American YouTube racing sensation weekly on the LVK More Than Moto podcast. Here's your hosts, Lewis Phillips and Kellen Brauer.
Welcome back, everybody, to the EVS Sports LVK More Than Moto podcast. I am Kellen Brauer, joined by Lewis Phillips again, and we are ready to preview the 2024 Motocross of Nations. The 2024 FIM World Motocross Championship just concluded as well. We're recording this show a little bit early this week because Lewis is on his way to England and going to hang out there all week and get ready for Nations as well. But yeah, this is like our time of the year. I don't know how you feel about it, Lewis, but this is my favorite race of the year. I am so excited every time that this one comes up on the calendar. So I'm chuffed to bits, as you might say.
Yeah, like I said last episode, I get more excited for a non-English nations. So, drop me down a notch because of that. But yeah, it should be good. The weather looks not terrible, so we'll take that. Yeah, it should genuinely be quite good. I think it's always one of those events as well that no matter how much you build it up, when you get there, when practice starts on Saturday and it kind of dawns on you what is occurring, you're kind of like, oh yeah, this is the reason why this is such an important race.
Yeah, you mentioned the weather. I remember you said, I think on the last show or last week, we're looking good, not going to be rain. I feel like I've seen a bit of a change. Like there's at least going to be some chance of it now. Doesn't that usually mean that there will be rain, like because it's the UK?
No, the weather forecast basically says there will be some sun, some cloud, some rain, some wind, which so basically, who knows?
So just spin the dart.
I honestly think it will be fine. I honestly do think it will be fine. Maybe it will like shower at some point, but that will only help the track because low key, if Matterley is dry, it's not a great track. So I honestly do not believe it will be a mudder.
Okay, so we might see some semblance of what it looked like Saturday last time we were there.
Yeah, well, yeah, just it will be fine. I really am not freaking out.
Yeah. But it is the UK, so there's always going to be a little bit of moisture. Hopefully, doesn't dampen the moods too much. You're on your way to the UK this week. Do you want to just quickly pump the Pulp MX of Nations show, all the cool things that you guys are doing out there this week?
Yeah, so Friday and Saturday evening, I think 6:30 Friday, 6 o'clock Saturday, or the other way around. Those are the two times for each day. I just can't remember which order. Steve and I are doing a live show in the paddock with special guests. I think it will be an hour long. We'd love to see you there. I believe it will be recorded and posted as a podcast, so there is that. But we will have special guests, and I believe that in the lineup already is Luongo, AP, Sewer, Watson, Anstey, potentially Webb, and some others. So it should be fine. No Jeffrey, but what can you do?
Star-studded. You guys are going to be the main attraction. Everyone at the Nations is going to be going to your stage.
Yeah, honestly, I'm surprised how much interest. Like, I've had a lot of DMs about this. A lot of like DMs clarifying the time, whether they need a paddock pass, which I presume you will because it's in the paddock. In fact, you definitely will. So yeah, I think it'll be good. I hope it's good. I hope it's not terrible.
I think it'll be fantastic. I think you guys are going to knock it out of the park.
What if it's raining? Do we cancel? I don't know.
I think you guys tough it out. I think you guys just hang out.
Well, no one would. If it's raining, no one would turn up. So then it's just sad.
Sir, it's in the UK. If it's raining, they're just going to stand there like they always do.
No one wants to stand in the rain and listen to me talk. Maybe Steve, but not me.
Well, again, it's going to be your star-studded line of guests. I think everyone wants to listen to what Dan has to say, especially after Jeffrey's comments today, which might be.
I don't believe we'll get into that with Dan.
No, not going to get into Jeffrey's comments with Dan.
I don't think the show is going to be hard-hitting journalism. Let's put it that way.
Do you want to get into Jeffrey's comments? Is that a potential future headline?
A future headline?
Yeah, of the show.
Oh, is there much to say? I don't think so. There's not much context to add to it other than just he's right.
Anyway, for those that are listening, don't know what Jeffrey said, He did not win the final GP of the season, basically because he got a penalty for cutting the track. Didn't agree with it, said so in his post-race, and then on Instagram said that he now he's more realizing or understanding why riders are leaving GPs and going to race at Pro Motocross. Even tagged him. So, I don't know. Not beating around the bush, as he normally doesn't anyway, but very interesting comments.
Yeah, top guy. Very interesting guy.
Top guy. All right, let's jump into the show. Of course, we're going to do our blind topics again today, but before we do that, a big thanks to the sponsors that back us here. EVS Sports has been with us, of course, all year. Experience the pinnacle of knee protection and injury prevention with the EVS Web Eclipse knee brace. For over 39 years, EVS has relentlessly honed their engineering expertise, consistently delivering award-winning knee braces. This legacy of excellence is embedded in every facet of the new Web Eclipse, which represents the culmination of their tireless dedication to innovation and rider safety. Use code LVK30 to save 30% off today. And also thanks to Namura for presenting the show, the leading provider of engine components for motocross, ATV, UTV, and personal watercraft for over 2 decades. Namura has been the preferred choice for premium and dependable engine components for more than 20 years. Whether you're restoring your vintage bike, rebuilding your four-wheeler, or upgrading your new 450 race motor, Namura has you covered. Our extensive line of cast and forged pistons, connecting rods, gasket kits, and engine valves, and soon cylinder kits that enhance your engine's performance. Keep an eye out for our new and innovative products in 2024 and beyond. Stay up to date by following us on Instagram at Namura_technologies. And lastly, thanks to Racetech as well. We will have a Racetech fan topic today that Lewis might veto, but it's coming from me to him. For 40 years, Racetech has been supplying the motorcycle industry with high-quality suspension components made right here in the USA. From modern to vintage, Racetech is your go-to source for suspension performance. All right, 7 minutes on the clock. Again, blind show, so this is topics I'm throwing at Lewis, and Lewis will throw topics at me. And my first topic of the day, Lewis, is basically this, and I think it'll kind of open-end how we want to discuss about Motocross of Nations, but there's already been a lot of preemptive discussion about who's going to do what nation's going to be good, what nation won't, et cetera, coming into the nation. So if you had to pick right now, which nation is already getting like too much credit? Like we're already fluffing them up too much, and then come Saturday, they're going to do, not say way worse, but they're not going to do what many people are suddenly pipping them to do.
Okay, wow, that did not go in a direction that I was expecting. I'm actually going to pull up the entry list now because that was a pivot. No, to be honest, is there a team that's been fluffed up too much? Because I think we've all discussed Australia, France, Netherlands, and America as the 4 teams that could win.
Yeah, and you think Germany too.
I think Germany too. But I don't feel like really anyone's discussed the other nations besides that. So, I mean, I feel inclined to pick one of that group. And if I had to, I would probably, if at this point you want me to drop one of those 4 nations from the group, it would have to be the USA.
Oh, okay.
Did you expect me to go another way?
No, but
okay.
I didn't know which way you were going to go because I have a different way.
I was scared to say it because, like,
you're going to get vilified.
Yeah, but if I had to drop one of those 4 nations from the running or my bet at this point, it would be the USA, but not by a lot. Next in line after the USA would probably be Australia.
Really?
Then France?
Totally not where I thought you were going with this.
What do you mean? Where did you think I was going with this?
No, I mean, I didn't realize that you put, because honestly, mine is the Netherlands. And I didn't realize you put, well, because I just don't feel like everything is going to go right for them the same way nothing went right for them last year. It kind of has been Netherlands' story, except for 2019.
Well, like, copy and paste exactly what you just said
about the
and
USA.
Insert Australia, and that's where I'm at.
Yes, but similar to the Netherlands when they were trying to win it, it kind of felt like at some point it's going to work, right? And that's where I'm starting to feel out with Australia because Hunter Lawrence, Jet Lawrence, I mean, they just proved they're pretty much the best 2 riders in the USA at the moment. So, aside from Chase getting hurt, but you could make a point of why they would both win their respective classes. So you just need a decent day out of Webster. I have question marks about really all of what the Netherlands can provide at this race. Not to say that, Hurlings isn't amazing, but his starts have been so-so of late. And of course, he's going to have to pass a lot of really good guys to make that work, which hasn't always been his strong suit at Nations. In fact, he's had a lot of mistakes trying to come through the field at Nations. And then would you not say Valandrin would make that team almost a surefire could win, should win team, and he's not here? So there's some question marks.
Yeah, but the Netherlands for me is Jeffrey can win his class. And if he doesn't win his class, he will be right there. De Wolf probably won't win his class, but he will be right there. And then Koldenhoff will be fourth in his class and okay. And that's quite a safe bet, in my opinion. Australia, yes, you can very much lean on Jet and Hunter being the best 450 riders in the world at the moment, potentially. But also, the storyline was similar last year. And through no fault of their own to a degree, Jet crashed in the third turn of Moto 1, and that was that. So, like, I don't think you can say it that clear cut. And ultimately, if you want to point out weak links, I'm probably more concerned about Webster than I am Koldenhoff, which I think is fair. Especially when you add in that Webster's been on a 450 all year. I know he's been training hard at the dog pound on a 250 for a month now, maybe a little less. But still, if you want me to compare weakness to weakness, I'm probably going to feel more comfortable with Koldenhoff.
Okay. I agree Koldenhoff could be good. I'm more questionable on him than I am Valandrin. But again, back to Jeffrey, because I'm not that worried about De Wolf. I think De Wolf will be second in his class. Yeah. Maybe win it.
I don't think he'll win his class, but he'll be second or third.
I feel like Hurlings, if you put all the names that we put in MXGP already that we talked about, Prado, Geyser, Fevre, Tomac, Roxon, Jet Lawrence, I can't pick one of those guys that's going to get a worse start than Hurlings. And so he has to pass all of them twice to win his class.
Yes, my counter is Matterley is an easier track to pass on, especially if it's technical. My counter is technically in that first moto, he will be going up against a field of 250s, so his start should be better than normal. And my third counter is look at the GP that happened today. The track was terrible, and Hurlings didn't get great starts, but still maneuvered himself into position. So do I think he goes 1-1? No, to your point, probably in one of the motos, that's just too difficult from where he starts. But I do think he wins his class.
Okay. So one of those, as we put it, 5 teams basically will either be fifth or worse. And in your opinion, the most likely one that could slip to that level if things start just going slightly wrong is US. But for me, I would say maybe Netherlands. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair, but it's just wild because I'm picking the Netherlands to win. So we couldn't be more far apart. And I presume you're picking France to win.
Yeah.
See, like, I'm just not there because in my mind, Fevre is a tick off of Jeffrey.
Going to start in front of him.
Vial is a wild card. I don't know about Vial. There's a part of me that feels as though I don't know about Vial because there's a part of me, if basically right now as a starting point, I feel like he will not be ahead of De Wolf and Koenen. Lucas now, that being. But I feel like very quickly you could convince me that he's going to win his class and be amazing. Like, if you give me 30 seconds of propaganda, then I will be all in on Vial being the best MX2 rider and killing it.
I can't remember. Did Vial race his GP bike in France last year?
Yes. No. I remember asking him. I just can't remember what side. I can't remember
which way it was either.
No. I think I want to say yes because he was amazing.
Does that not mean that he could do it again?
I mean, he's to be honest, maybe taking it more serious than I expected because as far as I know, he left Vegas, basically got on a plane to France, and he's been hunkering down ever since.
Okay.
Which is a very positive sign.
Right,
and actually,
for him.
That means he must be on a GP bike because I know for a fact that Passenger and Chase's bike, which is on the way, hasn't made it there yet. That doesn't arrive until Thursday. So Vial must be on a GP bike. Right?
I feel like I'm talking you into Team France here.
But still, Renault is Renault going to be that much better than Koldenhoff? Slightly better, yes. That much better? Probably not. Jeffrey, basically, the amount that Renault will be better than Koldenhoff will probably counteract the amount that Jeffrey is better than Febvre, which means it will all be on De Wolf versus Vial.
And who do you give the nod to?
I honestly don't know. But to be honest with you, that's where I'm at. Netherlands and France are neck and neck in my mind. I do pick the Netherlands, but only I can't justify it. If you want me to justify it, I get myself in a spin.
Okay.
But
I know
that's my top two.
Okay. So I know on Pulp, Steve asked us to give our percent chance of USA winning, and you said 5, I said 15. So if you had to put the other percentages up there with France, Netherlands, I'm assuming Australia is your third.
Yep.
What do they get? What part of the pie? There's 95% of the pie left.
Well, I go, wait, where did you get 95%?
Because you already took 5% away to give to USA as their chance of winning.
When did I say that?
On Pulp.
Oh, okay. I thought you said I said that just now. No, okay. Scratch that because that makes it too complicated. I will go winning 30% Australia. No, 30% Netherlands. 30%. No, 35% Netherlands. 35% France. 20% Australia. And then 10% the field.
The field, okay. And
Yep.
USA gets 5% of that.
No, USA is in the field.
The field. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that there could be cases to made either way. I think what's fun about it is that, again, we always do these like pre-race, what could happen, what should happen, or whatever. And maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like the last decade, every time we leave Saturday, it's always one of the nations that we thought was going to be there is not.
Yes.
So by Saturday night, we're going to be down one of these of some sort, I think.
I think my reasoning for, and I say we, but I'm honestly talking about myself. I think we have really undervalued the MX2 class.
Yeah.
Because realistically, I think on Pulp I said Webb could be top 3, but realistically, Webb is not beating De Wolf, Lucas Koenen, Lagenfelder, Vial.
I think Webb could be Langenfelder.
Nobody knows about Lagenfelder anymore. He really angered me because he put in his gas quote in the press release today something like, I achieved some amazing results and showed how strong I am. And it's like, no, you didn't, Lagenfelder. No.
Breaking news, he didn't win
10 GPs.
You said 8, I think.
No, I said 10. I said half
10?
the season.
Half?
And he didn't win
Lewis.
1.
Sad. He won 2 motos?
Oh, probably.
Something
I think
like
so.
that.
Not just... He made me look really dumb, and it's not ideal for me, to be honest.
Okay. All right, let me get into my second topic here. And this is just a fun, off-the-wall fan question. So I'm ready for you to veto it, but just in case.
Wait, you said this in the intro, that the fan question is actually your topic?
No, it's not my topic. I'm throwing it to you. So
okay.
You have the ability to veto it. But Racetech is bringing us a fan question today. Racetech Gold valves provide a plush feel with drastically improved bottoming resistance and increased traction. All Racetech products are 100% guaranteed and made in the USA. So this is a hypothetical, Lewis. It comes from @KyleJoyner45. And he says this: we found out a year ago that there are a bunch of other planets out there with dirt bike racers on them. Okay? So now we're going to host an intergalactic motocross supercross championship. So you have to put together a Team Earth with today's riders. The competition is going to consist of 4 races, 4 tracks, 1 US National, 1 MXGP track, 1 Supercross, 1 SMX round. You don't know which races they're going to be. You won't find out until you've made your selection for your team. 4 races, 4 riders per team. Who you putting on the Team Earth?
Jet Chase Jeffrey Prado.
Okay.
And veto.
I knew you were going to veto it in the end.
Yeah.
Do I get to choose mine? Or we're
Sure,
just done?
but please be quick.
You don't like this one.
Well, that's,
You want to go to Mars, but you can't even do an intergalactic
But that's
supercross
it.
championship?
The answer is very simple. The best riders in the world, and then we move on. We're done. No?
Okay.
Is there more to
I
this?
guess.
Is there some sort of layer to this? I haven't...
Think about it from the perspective of there is going to be an SMX round and a supercross round, and you just chose Hurlings.
It's fine, Kellen, because I don't think that Mars has riders who can compete with Hurlings on a Supercross track?
Who knows? We just found out. We that.
Well, we also only found out like 2 years ago that there's Supercross in India, and we see how they're getting on.
Yeah, Marvin the Martian Muscan is crushing it.
Please pick your riders so we can move on.
Okay. I would go, probably Jet and Chase. Eli Prado. I would do Eli instead of Jeffrey.
Oh, fuck Jeffrey then.
I'm not putting him in whoops. I debate with Prado in the whoops too.
Veto.
Veto. Okay.
Please veto.
All right. Well, then I will do my second moto topic, and it just we'll carry it on from Motocross of Nations. We've been talking a lot about nations, what nations are going to come out on top. However, the last time we went to Matterley Basin, Max Anstey had a hell of a weekend, got Great Britain on the podium.
Yeah, he did.
Every year there seems to be like a standout ride or rider. And I want to know which nation you think that's going to come from this year and who it might be if you could fancy a guess.
I guess Geyser doesn't count.
Why not?
Because it's Geyser. So Geyser winning isn't a surprise.
I mean, has he ever gone 1-1 at the Nations? I don't think so.
No, he's got one X result though. Like he's won motos. So I don't think that counts. The only reason I say it is because obviously, relatively, if a rider from Slovenia does that does, like when you frame it as you don't say the rider and you say Slovenia had a rider go 1-1 at the Nations, then it sounds surprising. That's kind of why I question whether it counts or not. Is it bad if I say no one?
You don't think anyone's going to surprise us?
No, because I'm so set on the fact that those four teams have the best riders and they will lock this thing out. I do think. Remember how amazing Prado was last year? After managing the MXGP season for so long, he really came out at the Nations and was like, watch this. This is why I'm champ. Maybe he does similar this weekend or next weekend or whenever it is. In the sense of like, this is my last race in Europe. I just won the championship. Watch this. Peace out. So maybe I could see that happening. Honestly, there are people who think that Conrad Muse is going to be that guy.
Yeah, we haven't actually really discussed. I don't think I've heard you discuss where you even put UK.
Somewhere from 7 to 10.
Oh, so you do actually put them top 10.
Well, I think that they should be able to get top 10 with a bloody broken body part.
Oh.
Shouldn't they? They'll be able to get... I mean, they were top 10 last year, and this is a better team, I think.
Question mark?
They'll be fine. I don't know, though, because they have been 10th for the last 2 years, so maybe... Well, if I look at this, France, Australia... Yeah, maybe they'll be on the fringe of the top 10. 8 to 12.
Do you think Anstey does a majority of the carrying?
If Anstey isn't the top rider on the team, then they've got problems.
Okay.
Because they need that. They need Anstey to have his best possible day. And then the others can do what they can do.
Does that mean you're all the way out on Anstey winning MX2? Or do you think it could happen?
It could happen.
So that could be a surprise, no? I mean, like, I don't think that you would put Max Anstey with what he's done on a 250 so far up against DeWolf, Vial, Cooper Webb even maybe. But if he goes and wins, it'd be a big surprise.
But he battled with Vial at certain points outdoors.
Yeah, but I think that's pulling a couple needles out of the haystack, because I don't really feel like you could say, yeah, remember when Max came back halfway through the year and just was battling Vial? Like,
no, but there was like Unadilla Moto 1, Washougal Moto 1. Like there were good rides, so if he has one of those rides, then yeah, he can win the class. But my stance on MX2 is that now that Lucas Coonan is in MX2, he has proven himself to be very, very fast lately. So he should win the class going away. It's kind of where I'm at. Yeah, I feel that is probably one of the predictions that I feel strongest about other nations and one that I would put money on.
Does that... we haven't really even discussed Belgium's chances, which have been thrown all about over the place, and even as of today, they were out, then back in. Geertz isn't really 100%. Now they have Van Donk on the team. Are they easily top 10? Especially because
5 to 7.
5 to 7.
They'll be in the Switzerland category. I'm almost tempted to say that Spain, we haven't given Spain enough credit, but then I don't know what you kind of do with Oriol Oliver. So,
I guess the question I have with him is last year in France, it was super hard packed, very Spanish soil type. Matterley's not like that. He would probably struggle there, no?
But Oriol Oliver was 9th overall today. So that's
but again, I don't know, Spain, home track.
It's a track no one's ridden before, so let's back it down on that.
It's home soil.
I thought Oriol Oliver sucked last year, didn't he?
I wouldn't say he sucked, but I think he went like 16, 18
22,
or something.
24.
There you go, 22, 24. I'd
say
mid-pack.
that sucked.
Yeah, I guess if you want to say that for an MX2 guy, but he had to go up against 450s.
Maybe that's too harsh. I would hope to see him more closer to 15.
Okay.
In at least one in the MX2 Open Moto, at least. I would hope.
I think that it'll be a little bit better, but I don't think it's going to make a difference for Spain. I still think that they're worse than every nation we've said so far. I would not even say that I would be blown away if they battle for a podium.
Oh no, that you're wrong on that, because if you remember, I don't remember the exact situation, but Fernandez crashed on the first lap of the final moto and had to withdraw, and I'm pretty sure at that point going into the moto they were second, maybe third.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah,
but
with the same team.
But this is, to me, this is way different. Last year, Netherlands didn't even really make Sunday. USA was in shambles. So both of those teams you would put back up there as opposed to what we saw last year. They would be ahead of Spain, in my opinion. Obviously, France is going to be good. I think Germany has come to play. Australia is going to be better. I just don't see a scenario where you'd have to have two of those teams really have bad weekends again.
Yeah, and to your earlier point, that does happen at the Nations.
It does, but I just don't see it happening for two whole teams again.
I don't think the margin is that big. I think that quite easily, I don't think it takes a team having an injury for Spain to get in there. I think it takes a team having someone wash the front and lose 4 positions. Okay. I don't think the margin is as big as you are making out, I guess.
Are we going to see to the point of, like Geyser, Slovenia, it's a team that's not going to compete to win. Obviously, he could carry them much higher. Are we going to see a random, Estonia top 5 again kind of weirdo thing?
Well,
is there a nation
Kellen, that's one of my topics. So let's put a fork in that and move on.
All right, then we're at the end of my topic anyway. So I got a non-moto, and you don't get to veto it because you already blew your veto. So this is my non-moto. You ready for it, Lewis?
Yep.
So, ice cream.
Oh no! Oh no!
Yes or no? It's a dessert food.
Oh no! Yes.
It's a dessert food, right?
I've never heard the phrase dessert food.
Okay, it's a dessert? Can I ask that?
Yes.
And when during the day would you most often eat dessert, Lewis?
I don't know where this is going.
Answer the questions.
Well, it depends what you classify dessert as. Okay, it's a sweet treat.
Okay, I'm saying dessert. When do you eat dessert during the day, Lewis?
After dinner.
After dinner, correct. When do you normally finish eating dinner?
I don't know, like 6 p.m.
6 p.m. Wow, you're early dinner.
I don't know, Kellen. I don't know. I wasn't prepared for this interrogation.
Here's my point. Okay, I got a real problem with U.S. ice cream shops, whatever you want to call it. Their business model sucks, in my opinion, because they're all open like throughout the middle of the day when no one's going to get a nice cup of ice cream. And then you go to get a nice cup of ice cream at like 8:30, go to 9 p.m. Oh, Dairy Queen, Cold Stone. I want to go get a nice bowl of ice cream from one of these places. Nope, sorry, we're closed. We've shut down for the evening. What? Dessert place closes early? Are you kidding me?
I'm about to absolutely blow your topic out of the water.
Hit me.
Because in my new residence, next door, there is an ice cream shop. And it's called Creme de la Creme, which is really clever.
Okay.
It's a play on creme de la creme, obviously. Yep.
Yeah.
Can we agree that's very clever?
Yeah, it's clever.
Okay,
Where are you going?
Good. They are open until midnight every day of the week.
Wow. Okay,
Yep.
so we're
They
turning
do
a new
ice
leaf.
cream. They do ice cream. They do milkshakes. They do. Yep. Yeah. I just blew your topic out of the water.
Well, one ice cream shop in Florida isn't really necessarily blowing my topic out of the water, because again, the point I'm making is like these chain restaurants. Like when we're out on the road, you and I are sometimes at a Supercross till midnight, sometimes later or whatever, and the only places open after that are chains. There's not like a local shop that's open till 1 a.m. in the morning or something like that. So you have to go to McDonald's or Jack in the Box for me to get some food sometimes. But I'm saying with ice cream stores, like if I go on a date with my wife, the date ends at 9-10 p.m. We want to, head home. But before we do, let's maybe stop, get a nice cup of ice cream. Almost all the chain stores are closed. It makes no sense.
Oh, you just come to creme de la cream.
Apparently I do. I need to move to Florida just to get nice ice cream at 10 p.m. But doesn't that make sense? Like, why, from a business standpoint, would the peak 4-hour window post-dinner when you're serving a dessert item, would you close in the middle of it?
I don't know, Kellen. I don't own an ice cream shop. You're shouting at me like I own an ice cream shop. I don't do that. It's not what I do. It's not what I specialize in.
You've never come across this? You've never
No, because I've got creme de la cream.
You just moved there.
Yeah, but I'm not a big ice cream guy anyway.
Okay. So like dessert in general, what's like your go-to dessert then?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm really a dessert guy.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
You don't like the finer things in life, Lewis.
I like a cookie.
You like a cookie.
I like a cookie.
Have you had crumble cookie?
Yes, of course.
But again, I think that's another place that closes at like 9. Honestly, you know what? I'm going to look right now.
Okay, brilliant. I really think we're in the weeds now. Should probably move on from this topic. But
my point being is it doesn't make sense for a dessert place.
Honestly,
to close
I'm
that
just
early.
happy that this topic went in a different direction, because at the beginning I thought you were wanting to debate with me whether ice cream is a dessert or something else, and I was like, we are gone. But I'm happy that we went in a different direction to that.
Yeah, see, I'm saving the day. Crumble closes at 10 p.m., so we're
what I said.
A little bit closer there. But again, I don't know, young people, if you go out drinking or something and you want ice cream afterwards, you're screwed. There's nothing.
No one in the world goes out drinking and wants ice cream. No one.
Yeah.
No one.
No one.
That is not a target audience.
Well, here's another thing too. Like with Supercross, it ends at 10. I like to go to baseball games. They end a little earlier now. They used to always end at 10. Most like sporting types events end around that time. And then again, oh yeah, screwed. Can't go get a nice cup of ice cream after.
Veto.
You don't get 2 vetoes. But I'll end the topic early for you, Lewis. We're past halfway anyway. So, big thanks to EVS Sports. Experience the pinnacle of knee protection and injury prevention with the EVS Web Eclipse knee brace. For over 39 years, EVS has relentlessly honed their engineering expertise, consistently delivering award-winning knee braces. This legacy of excellence is embedded in every facet of the new Web Eclipse, which represents their culmination of their tireless dedication to innovation and rider safety. Use code LVK30 to save 30% off today. All right, second half of the show. Lewis, what do you got for me, buddy? We got MXGP topics. We got MXoN topics.
I have no topics, and that's the end of the show. Thanks for coming out. Can I do that?
It is your half of the show. If you
So
would like it to be
technically,
done
I've just found a fucking brilliant loophole
You
in
can
this show.
veto yourself.
Yeah, wow. Like a 30-minute show every week. That's brilliant. What a superb loophole I've just found. Okay, topic 1. Should more emphasis be put on what signing Jorge Prado means for Kawasaki and the scrutiny that the manufacturer should be under with this signing? And let me provide some context, because I haven't done that very well there. Kawasaki had a lot of success with Villapoto. Then the Millsaps thing did not happen basically did not continue that trend. The Tomac era did eventually get to a point where there were titles, less than you would imagine, but there were titles, a lot of wins, very successful. But that was also Tomac, which almost put Kawasaki like behind closed doors a little more, because Tomac's a unique beast. So it almost files under its own category. Then they got Anderson, and Anderson was at a point where almost anything he did was considered good, because we all remember what his 5 final couple of years on Husqvarna were like. So I guess where I'm going with this is I think that if you look over the last decade, you can question Kawasaki's ability to win championships and you can question the program. And I think that bringing Jorge Prado in, a rider who is going to expect to win, essentially, Prado is their first Tomac level signing since Tomac, and only their second Tomac level signing since Villopoto. I think that this could really shine some light on where Kawasaki is at as an organization and a team.
Yeah, it is obviously a huge deal, and I think it's not been pumped up enough by them or their marketing teams. I mean, but again, like, this is where our sport falls short of this. Every other sport would be pumping this already. If you're Kawasaki and you exist in any other sport, you'd be like, guess who we got coming? Here he comes. And you know what you do? If you're Kawi as well, if you're smart about this, you would not be releasing, we have signed Jorge Prado. You would be doing like
a press conference.
No, well, sure. But you would be doing like silhouetted shadow posts and stuff like that. That's like what's coming next and stuff like that to build up hype for this potential signing.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. If Kawasaki do what they've done with McAdoo and Hammaker and Masterpool and release an Instagram post with them talking into the camera, that may be it for me in this sport. And I said to Kawasaki at Vegas, I said, for the love of God, please tell me that there is going to be a special announcement because this is special, please. And I didn't exactly feel very confident in what I got back. But this is, honestly, this is the marketing, and this is off topic, but this is the marketing dream. So for the love of God, Kawasaki, let's fucking do this right, because you may never have another opportunity like this, especially now he's world champion. Anyway, back to the topic of them from a competitive standpoint.
Yes.
I think that what's happened since Villopoto could lead you to question Kawasaki. And I think the Prado will provide some conclusive evidence as to whether Kawasaki's back, or Kawasaki just didn't have the guy they needed, or the opposite way, Kawasaki maybe isn't in enough to handle a situation like this now. Because with Anderson, and also with Cincerello towards the end because of his health issues, I feel like they're just kind of like floating in obscurity a little bit. The goal from Anderson's side potentially, and also Kawasaki, I don't think the two parties in that relationship are kind of thinking like we're going for championships. I think it's kind of just we're just turning up and going for top fives.
Yeah, yes, I see where you're coming from. I struggle to be that harsh on Kawi about what has happened since Villopoto, because Tomac did happen and because they have taken swings that haven't worked necessarily. Like the first person they signed after Villopoto was Davey Millsaps. Millsaps had been amazing before that, so that there was reason to believe it was going to at least not necessarily be championship success, but race wins and all that, and it totally didn't amount to that. And then Tomac was their next signing, like big signing besides Davey, and it worked. Like they won titles, they won a lot of races, tons of races. And then they took a swing with Jason Anderson, and he almost won a Supercross title with them. He just barely fell short of Tomac. Like he won 7 races.
But that
in the
exceeded
season.
Expectations, I think.
Yes, it was better than maybe they thought, but when they signed a 450 Supercross champion, of course they thought at some level he was going to win races again. So, maybe Jason Anderson was on the tailspin from Husqvarna, but that 2018 Jason Anderson was still in there. And I think that with Adam C. and Cerullo, that was just bad luck, because all signs pointed to when 2019 ended, 2020 came around, this is the future of Kawasaki. Like, this is what's going to carry us beyond Eli Tomac. The dude almost won Anaheim 1. He battled for a 450 outdoor title in his rookie season, and then nerve damage took that all away from us. So I don't necessarily feel like Jorge Prado coming and having good results and maybe winning championships for Kawi totally changes the narrative for them, because I don't really feel like the narrative has changed. You could talk about Yamaha after James Stewart left. For a decade, they just floated around doing nothing. And then finally, now they're winning championships again. And then you could talk about Honda after Ricky left, the curse of the GOAT. They hired some big names. Nothing ever really seemed to pan out. I think that's more of a story than what Cowie has gone through in the last decade since Villopoto, in my opinion.
I just think that this is an internal shift a little bit. I think Prado's going to be very demanding, and rightfully so. And I think it's gonna be a little bit of a dynamic shift from the last 2 seasons at least.
I agree. I think that there's going to be, more pressure over there, if that makes sense. I don't know if that's like the right way to put it, but I feel like
I think that's kind of what I'm getting at, is how do they handle that pressure?
I guess that, yeah, it will be interesting to see that dynamic, but like with Anderson and Cianciarulo the last couple of years, you got the sense that there was like, they're not happy with the results, but what are you going to do? I feel like now if Prado's not getting the results, there's going to be panic buttons.
Yeah, I guess to build on what you just said, the riders they've had, there's not been any like in-depth, like no one's blamed the bike. No one, because Cianciarulo's had his issues and Anderson, I think, he's not really doing media. Whereas if Prado's struggling, he will come out and just go, yeah, the bike sucks. We need to, and that is a change for Kawasaki. It's almost, you could almost argue that Prado is their first step into the current realm of like social media, and that sort of, I feel I need another tag, but that sort of era of like what happens will reflect.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, my prediction with this is I don't think it's going to go as well as either of them think it will. I think that Cowie's going to be very annoyed at Prado's forthcomingness. I don't want to call it hot-headedness, but I feel like he's going to be very blunt about things he likes or doesn't like.
As I am. As everyone is from not America, it seems.
Europeans.
Or even Australians.
Then, I don't think Cowie's ever really had to deal with that, or hasn't dealt with that very much lately. But when it starts happening with Prado, instead of just being able to be like, shink, we're done, we're not going to deal with that, they're stuck. They brought Jorge Prado to the USA to win titles for them. And if he isn't winning titles and he is blaming the bike, what are you going to do?
I'd be interested to see, I mean, we'd never get this information, but how Prado's pay stacks up to what they were paying Tomac. Because that would give you a good idea of where we're at.
I think, yes, Cowie did pony up a lot of money for this. I think there's more monster money involved than we both really know, which is why I think that that's ultimately where Prado's going. Because I know he wanted to talk to Yamaha too for the same reason, monster money. But anyway, I think that the salary is pretty similar to what Tomac was making. He might be making more though endorsements, but similar salary.
I feel like there are many layers to this story, and it's really worth watching closely.
Oh, it's going to be amazing. It's the stories that are going to come from this.
More so from just like rider races and gets results.
Oh yeah, 100%. But again, I think that's more.
Maybe I didn't quantify it correctly, but I do believe that there is some element here of like, this is sink or swim for Kawasaki to kind of sit up and remind everyone of who they are. That's a better way to put it. This is a chance for Kawasaki to be like, okay, we've had limited success in the last 4 years, but we are still here and we are taking this seriously. And I guess maybe my feelings with this come a little bit from Kawasaki globally, because there's always been some question marks about Kawasaki's input and blah blah blah. But yeah.
Well, what you said in there, sink or swim. I agree. I think that there's a 1% chance, but almost no world where Prado goes into Cowie, exits Cowie, and it's just like a steady line for them. It's either things are amazing or things are going in the wrong direction. You know what I mean?
They're very Yamaha-esque from a couple of years ago.
Right, yeah.
Anyway, moving on. What time was that?
Over the time, but I was happy to continue talking. Okay,
I think actually we were told to stick to the buzzer, Kellen. Topic 2. Actually, I don't know which one to do. That rhymes. Kai de Wolf's championship, won today, highlights what so many teams do wrong.
Okay. Care to explain?
Well, I was waiting for you to go, interesting, Lewis, explain. But
Tell me
instead
what,
you just,
Lewis.
Instead, you just sat there silently. Kai was signed on an 85 by Nissan Husqvarna. They carried him into EMX 125, into EMX 250, MX2. He was, I wouldn't say a can't miss kid, but he was pretty high up there as far as what people expected. And things didn't go well. Or that's harsh. Maybe things didn't happen as quickly as everyone expected once in MX2. Took a long time for him to get his first GP win. Wasn't really a championship contender until this year. And last year he had the red plate, but then immediately got hurt. So hard to really position that. But Nissan never wavered in their support of him. They always kind of catered to trying to figure out the code to crack the lock. And now it's paid off, 6 years of investment or whatever. And I think more and more now we're seeing teams kind of just push someone to the side when it doesn't work out, or this isn't going as expected. So that's my point.
Yeah, I agree. In the sense that like there's a lot of problems right now with teams that have an amateur kid come to their pro team, and if it doesn't work out, really a lot of kids, if it doesn't work out in a summer, they're gone. But a year, 2 years, if it's not working out, they tend to end that a little bit too quickly, in my opinion. So I agree with you that they did it right with Kai, with letting him have the time to develop, have the mistakes, have the injuries, come back, keep building. I agree, but I think the problem that maybe happens, and I don't know how much this happens in Europe, but I think it definitely happens in the US, is that there's too much competition continuously happening in the US, where if a kid starts to get good and at the same time that team is losing faith in said rider, there's almost like the shared disconnect between both, where the rider is getting good, he knows what he brings to the table. I'm going to go to another team because they value me, whereas this team isn't valuing me the way they should. Like, I don't feel like that there's a shared loyalty, I guess, if that makes sense, going on as commonly in the US as there is in Europe. But that's to your point. I think that Husqvarna probably nurtured Kai and said, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. You probably know more about this than me, but I think that that's probably what they were telling him, and knew that the end goal was going to be this eventually if he stuck to the program.
Yeah. I would counter what you said about shared loyalty as maybe there's less of that structure in this sport globally. Maybe we could do with more. I don't know. I don't know how you would define structure, but it would basically be like, we need more. I don't know. We need more like, hey, I don't know. I honestly don't know what I'm trying to say.
Well,
I guess essentially what I'm trying to say is like, we're so quick to be like, this new amateur is coming. He's now coming in place of you. Whereas maybe we need to have more structure to the point where it's like, hey, amateur kid, we are going to keep you down for 1 year, but that's okay.
Yeah. But
then the amateur kid doesn't accept that. So
I guess like the solution to this, which is only going to work like a handful of times, but it would be the only way that this kind of gets solved, is you sign kids to long-term deals for like less money. So you take someone that's just graduating to the pros this year, like a Julian Beaumer, for example, this year. If you're KTM last year, when you pull him off of Yamaha and sign him ahead of Star, you say, okay, 4-year deal, $500,000 over 4 years or something like that. We are going to make you this as long as you stick with us, because then it gives a shared investment. The kid knows they're involved. The team knows that the kid is interested because he actually signed the deal in the first place. But then I feel like that kind of ruins it a little bit, because you don't get these diamond in the rough type of kids to ever really have a shot, because there's already too many stacked up long-term deal kids coming from amateurs to pros. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we almost have too much going on, but then and also it doesn't help that there's so many teams with so many rides. So essentially you can just go anywhere and look elsewhere and blah blah blah. Whereas in like another sport like Formula One or MotoGP, it's so structured with like these are the rides.
Yeah. So
wait it out and wait for your turn. Whereas here it's like, well, I'll get on a club bike, I'll get on a Triumph, Star will open another seat for me, etc., 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 etc. So it lends itself to a lot more chaos essentially in the paddock, and kind of makes it impossible to manage if you're an agent or a team manager.
Right. Well, that's what I mean with the shared loyalty aspect of it. If you're a rider and after a year or two not working out on one team that you transition from amateurs to pros with, there's every reason why you can believe you can make it work elsewhere. The team may still have faith in you. They're maybe not showing it as much as you would like, and you want to feel better by going somewhere else that maybe does show you that engagement and loyalty on that side, so you just jump ship. So I think it's two halves of the coin a little bit, where the riders want to feel something at all times, and if they don't, they're happy to leave, and the teams want to feel like they're investing into a rider, but as soon as things start to fail, they probably subconsciously back off a little bit.
Not to circle back, but all I can think about while you're talking about this is the Drew Adams situation, because that kind of encompasses this, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because in the press conference in Vegas, he said, unfortunately, I've had to stay in the amateurs or something like that. And then no one really knows what's going on, just a lot of like toing and froing. Once again, it could all just be quite straightforward if someone would just explain.
Well, I mean, but you're right, because if you're Drew Adams, you won stuff at Loretta's, you won a Canadian or battled for a Canadian national title. You won SMX the year before. It didn't work this year. Like I feel like if you're Drew Adams, you kind of proved it, if that makes sense. And so now to be told, yeah, another year of futures, another year sitting on the sidelines, that probably in his own mind causes him to lose faith in sticking with PC and sticking with Kawasaki in a long-term agreement.
Yeah,
right?
Weird though, because in other sports, like people prove themselves and then just sit on the couch for 2 years until it's their turn, kind of thing.
Yeah, but Moto's different, because if you sit on the couch for 2 years, you could have a career-ending injury tomorrow.
Funny old game, isn't it?
It is. It's very funny.
Like when you start to unpack stuff like this, you realize how the intricacies of our sport are so foreign to anyone else, and it's so particular to us. I mean, I guess it's not, because I guess if you look at team sports like soccer or baseball, maybe, I don't know, then I guess there are more options. So there is a lot more like, I'll just go there, or we'll just take him, or we'll just do this, and there's a lot more moving and stuff. So maybe it's more, I guess we are more like that because we have a lot more teams with a lot more seats.
Yes, but I feel like in those team sports, what we don't have in Moto is like a union or a bargaining agreement or something like that gives not only leverage to teams, but leverage to athletes as well. So if you're a Drew Adams and you're in any other sport, when you transition to the pros, if you're a hotly touted amateur and you sign with a program, you have leverage to be like, I am signing for this much, or I'm walking to a different team, because there's all these bargaining agreements. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway,
I'm sitting down with Pit Byra at the Nations. I'm going to unpack some of this stuff with him about like essentially how elements of our sport kind of make it impossible to run a business or push a business to spend more money than they should, or like just how basically a business is kind of at the mercy of what this sport is.
You could call it Business with Lewis.
Honestly, I want to start a business podcast where I just talk to people about the business of this sport. But that's a USP. That's a USP that's not being covered in this market, and I think it would be interesting. Like you get Ian Harrison, and you don't go, "Oh, Chase rode great this year," but you just get into the mechanics of what did bringing Chase in entail? How did the workforce have to change? How did the personality difference? You know what? I used to do this.
Go for it.
But would I run out of people? But no, because then you interview riders, but you interview riders about the business of being an athlete.
Exactly. Yep.
And you interview old riders about the business of their career. Like, yeah, you touch on result, but then you touch on the result just to add context of how the result played into the business of what happened.
Brilliant.
B2B, business to business. So the podcast is going to be called B2L.
Beat to L.
Yeah.
Like
Beta to business to
beat
Lewis.
to L.
Business to Lewis.
Okay. Yep.
If there's any sponsors, Steve, if you're listening and you want this on the Pulp Network, let me know.
He's not listening.
It would probably trump LVK almost immediately if I had
He's
to
not
guess.
listening.
Okay, I'll tell him to. I did have another Nations topic, but we've gone long because you're not working the buzzer correctly.
No, you ended right at time. I thought you were going to move on, but then you went to business with Lewis, so I was just letting you have your moment in the sun. So.
Okay, so I once again, I have multiple non-motos, so I think we'll just circle through them until we hit the time limit.
All right.
Rather than drag it out.
I started the timer. Go for it.
What would I learn about you, Kellen, if I had the opportunity to speak with someone who doesn't like you? Actually,
I don't know, a lot.
In hindsight, this is a dumb question because I am the person who doesn't like you, so I just need to.
Yeah. So what have you learned about me, Lewis? What have you learned about me?
Well, no, it's not what I learned. No.
You're speaking to yourself.
What have I learned?
I know that you like to sit down and talk to yourself.
What have I learned about you after my internal monologue?
Yep.
Just not great.
Sad.
No, anyway, what question to you?
What would people say about me?
What would I learn?
What would you learn?
If I had the opportunity to speak with someone who disliked you?
I generally feel like the people that don't like me, I don't know, get the sense that like I'm kind of nerdy, full of myself maybe a little bit based on commentary.
Bit of a dickhead.
Bit of a dickhead is fair. Yeah, I don't know. Generally just like not cool. Kind of a dork.
Sad. Oh, this is a sad question.
Well, you're telling me to try to talk about the negative aspects of me.
Well, I guess that is what the question is, but you could have taken it in another way.
Like what?
Would you like this to turn into therapy with Lewis?
No, I don't. How else would I spin that other way? If someone who doesn't like me is not going to be like, well, you know, he's a right dickhead, but actually he's got some good points every once in a while.
Okay. So that's the takeaway, I guess.
Yeah, like
I don't know what to do with this information.
You asked the question.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with this information, to be honest. I've now just got therapy with Lewis on my mind.
Most people that say negative things about me are like, who the hell let this gaming idiot?
Yeah,
talk
but you're
about
referring to
sport?
Fans.
The fans they hate me, I guess.
I guess it's hard, isn't it? Because that is a lot of what it is. That is a lot of what it is.
I don't know professionally someone that hates me, unless I'm misreading a lot of stuff.
I think professionally more people hate me than they hate you.
I don't think anyone professionally hates you either.
Well, hate is a strong word. The question was dislike.
Okay, dislike.
Well, if I answer this as well, I guess. I'm a big ideas. Well, actually, I never used to be this way, but more and more, I'm becoming more of like an ideas person.
Yeah,
and I love talking about ideas and getting other people's perspectives. And what if we changed this? And how would this work if this changed? And what if you did this? And what if I did this? And what if we did this? And I think more and more that gets taken in the wrong way. So I'm kind of trying to go back to my old way. So I guess what I would take from that is if a person who received that poorly, they would say that because I'm talking about ideas, I think I have all the answers.
Yeah, I think that
Whereas what I'm thinking internally is, what answers can we come up with in this conversation?
I would say based on like...
Oh, okay, you're going to just shit on me here?
No. Like what I was going to say is that people who don't know you, like probably tend to think that you think you're smarter than you are, but like they don't get the chance to talk to you and actually understand where you're coming from. And so that falls into like the dislike realm.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened. I don't know what, because I never used to be this way, but I'm proper like in what's the word? Intrigued now. Stuff intrigues me way more than it used to, and I don't know why.
Well, that's a good journalist quality.
Because I was reading the book. I'm reading a book at the moment. Just finished chapter 1. It's all about the BlackBerry and how the guy who invented it basically couldn't get out of his own way, so his business failed because of it. And I've taken so much of that I'm now going to take to interviews with
chapter.
Yeah, honestly, I've stopped reading the book. That's all I've needed. But I'm going to take to this interview with Pitt, for instance, because there is a lot in it that that is relevant to, like, for instance, in my head when I was reading it, I was like, there's a lot in it that essentially when KTM signed Chase, if they weren't willing to get out of their own way and just be like, this is how we do it, we're the best, we've won this championship, this is how we do it, that's how teams fail in the sport, essentially. So in this sport, there's a phrase for it that I'd have to read again. But you have to be a certain type of thinker to succeed in this sport as a team manager. And I want to find out stuff about that. Anyway, but now, see, I sound like I have all the answers, or I've got a fucking smart idea.
No, you're inquisitive.
That's the word I was looking for, not intrigued.
You're not, but like the way that you just spoke right now, people will take it as you acting as if like you're the higher authority on this and you're trying to get like an opinion to match your opinion. But the reality is, I don't have an opinion. I just read a book. It's a point. The reality is you want to know more information, so you are jumping to that by, like using deeper discussion, deeper thought process to get questions out of people that otherwise they would not answer. Okay, well, this leads nicely into the other non-moto. If you died tomorrow, what would be your biggest regret? And I'll answer this first because it can build on exactly what you just said. I genuinely feel like I've done fuck all with my career. Like, I feel like, and especially, I almost feel like it more so since I got to America. I feel like I've not justified my existence. I don't feel like I've done, I feel like I've just kind of become, I don't know how you justify it. I just feel like I've not done, essentially, I feel like since I got to America, I've actually done fuck all. So that would be my biggest regret. And that's also why I'm trying to open my mind to like these other areas, B and L, B2L, Beta L? Beta L? Sounds too much like beta. That's why I said Beta L. Yeah, maybe they'll sponsor it. But that's why I'm now more inquisitive, because I feel like I need to raise my game to shed this regret, which fucking kills me on a daily basis. There we go. I just put two and two together. Like, I feel like I need to raise my game, and maybe I don't need to, and maybe the people, like, maybe I don't need to, or maybe I can't, but I feel like I need to, because right now my biggest regret is I feel like I've done fuck all. And I feel like, if anything, my career has actually gone maybe slightly backwards, not forwards, which kills me. All right. Do you want to know mine? Therapy with Lewis. Yeah, sure. Because I feel like my answer is what you might feel in the future based on your answer. Oh, boy. My biggest regret, if I were to die today, would be that I spent too much time caring about my career and not caring about the people around me. Because, like, I care a lot about my career, continued growth and development, as you do, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. And all it's got me so far is kind of nothing, as you know. So, because of that, I feel like shit that if I died tomorrow, I would not have spent more time with my parents or more time with my daughter, and I haven't been able to watch her grow up as much because all I did was just work my ass off for ultimately nothing. Well, what's interesting about that is essentially I've arrived at the same destination as you, but we've gone in different directions. I'm doubling down and being like, no, I just need to work harder. Whereas you've gone the more enlightened route of like stepping back and being like, hang on, this is fucked up. So I've gone the idiot route, or I'm trying to go the idiot route of doubling down and being like, no, I'm the problem. I need to work harder. That's what it is. I need to do that. Where, yeah, you've gone the more enlightened route. So how interesting that we've arrived at the same destination and gone in different directions. I think that just basically shows where we each are in life, though. Because also, like I'm fucked because I'm in this country. I don't know anyone. So all I have is my job now. I've kind of backed myself into a corner where that is the only thing I can focus on. Okay, riddle me this, though. Ideal world, you want to have friends that don't know motocross? Yeah, of course. Oh, really? Yeah. I would not expect that out of you, because I feel like you'd be bored all fucked by talking. No, it tires me out. Honestly, it tires me out. Like, I like talking about motocross with people that I can learn something from. I don't like talking to motocross about people that I don't like talking to motocross with people. No, I don't like talking about motocross with people where I don't learn anything, because I'm just like, oh, fucking hell, I've talked about this all week. Whereas if like I'm having a conversation with Steve, for instance,
and I'm learning stuff, I'm like, oh, this is interesting. But if I'm having a conversation where I know everything that's being said, like we're talking about this rider going here for these reasons, and I know all of the details about that, I'm like, fucking, I don't want to keep, like, we know this.
Yeah.
Let's keep going. Or the opposite way, which is kind of where I get to, like, for instance, Faulkner. Some people say he's going to Pro Circuit. Some people saying he's going to Triumph. Some people saying he's going to Club MX. Essentially, at this point, it seems to be up in the air. At that point, I'm like, I don't want to talk about it because who the fuck knows? There's rumors in every single direction. So really, we're just guessing. It's not worth my time to talk about it. Let's talk about something else.
Yeah, I can totally get where you're coming from there.
Yeah.
All right, good to know.
Fuck, it's all a bit fucked up, innit?
No, it's not, Lewis. Stop it. You know what's not fucked up, Lewis? You get to get on. No, you get to. Well, no, I was gonna say.
Organic ad-read. I led you into an organic ad-read when you said no.
I didn't realize we're ending the show right now. I was gonna say, you get to get on a plane tomorrow, and you get to go back to where everything feels right. You get to hang out with Dan, Jeremy, Jeffrey. It's gonna be a good weekend.
This is exactly why Chase says I would not be a good rider. This is exactly why he says these things.
I just hope you have a good weekend, Lewis. Majora-esque.
I don't think that will happen.
You never know. Pulp MXoN Nation
but if it does,
you're not coming back.
If anyone from the GP paddock is listening to this, come up to me and talk to me like you did a Majora. Even if you say exactly the same things, just do that again because that was a great weekend.
You got to try to find a way to recreate the Washbase story too. Something like that.
I wanted Steve to turn up to the live podcast in a hazmat suit.
There's still time.
But honestly, wouldn't that be fun? I feel like that would be a very funny bit.
Yeah, and then just Ray off stage. Oh, the fucking Washbase, you got to watch out.
I feel like that would be funny, but I don't think we're doing that. So that's a shame.
Well, either way, I hope you can stay out of the rain. If you need some EVS protection, you can go ahead and utilize it to stay away from the rain this weekend. I think they sell umbrellas. You could get one from them. But yeah, hopefully there's no rain this weekend. Hopefully we have a badass Motocross of Nations. And for me, I hope Team USA brings it home. But we just have a good race weekend regardless of which. And I hope you have a good flight, Lewis.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. Hope you have a good time.
Sitting at home. All right, thanks EVS, Namura, Race Tech for backing the show. Thank you guys for listening. Motocross of Nations coming up, and we'll catch you guys for a recap show when we come back. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.